What is going on, Movie Meals? 1 day removed from Avengers when we are filming this, baby. 1 day, 7 o'clock. That's in 24 hours. We're going to be sitting there, corn, Avengers. Let's go.
Yep, that was all the characters doing their thing. I like it.
Why don't you have fun with me about this stuff?
Oh, we're going to have fun tomorrow. 24 hours
guys,
from now.
Don't mind the poker table. We're still working on the set, okay? We will be working on it for at least another 18 years.
Plus, we're addicted to gambling.
We're going to start here. We're reviewing the original Avengers film. We rewatched it the last day or so, so we're going to do that right now. So, Kyle, bring us back to the positives of the first Avengers.
I just first want to start off with this. Like, I got my first nerdgasm while watching the Avengers.
I still haven't had a...
It was at the scene. It was at the scene, of course, where they all come together at New York City, and they're in the middle of their battle. And then you see the famous circle of them all getting ready to do battle, and you're just sitting there going, I can't believe that they got the Avengers on the big screen. It was such...
That shot though, I've laughed the first time I ever saw it, up until this point, because it is like Hulk's intense. Iron Man's knocking his thing down at the beginning. He's getting an arrow. She's cocking a gun.
And it gets has a bullet.
Thor spins his hammer, and Cap just readjusts his shield.
Yeah.
He literally goes... All right. I've always thought it was funny. It starts off so epic, and then it kind of gets a little cheesy.
I like how the cheesy part gets to Cap's shield, and not like when Black Widow has like a pistol.
A pistol's gonna do a little bit more you thought until you're a super soldier. All right, back to your positive.
Shield. No, so anyway, I just wanted to get that story out of the way because it was just one of those moments, just as a fan, as a comic book fan, as someone who loves superheroes, to get this dream of having these characters on the big screen all facing together. And that's really what happened at this time, is that we got to see these characters come together in what was trying to start off into becoming this big epic universe. And it works so well because the chemistry, not only with the actors, but the chemistry with the characters interacting with each other just works so well, and it's done so flawlessly. And it's not all thanks to Joss Whedon. Like, luckily they were able to introduce all these characters beforehand, but Joss did really do a great job at getting all these different personalities and going, okay, how does the audience want to see these superheroes interact? Like, well, what will be the best way in order to do this? And he did a great job, not only when they're fighting with each other or against each other or just talking. Some of the best scenes in Avengers comes from them just being the helicarrier, just talking to each other.
It's that Game of Thrones kind of thing with it. Yeah. It's just you want to watch these different personalities speak to one another.
Yeah, exactly. And while the Endgame sure is a big alien army coming from the sky that might be, a little cliche, at the time though, this was something different. This was a team that was able to go up against like a big battle from the sky.
This was a couple people.
It was a couple more people.
This isn't one guy.
But the end game of it was all right though, because we were enjoying seeing this team work together so much. So that's really what is done well, is that these characters, not only are they made almost straight from the comic books, but also they are just able to interact with each other so well, whether it's fighting or just talking to each other.
Yeah, it's hard. The first Avengers to me is the greatest comic book movie I've ever seen, and it's and people are gonna be like, The Dark Knight, DC, I love you, I see you.
We know.
I love The Dark Knight. It's 1A, 1B for me, but the Avengers did guys, this was my jam growing up right here. So I didn't grow up. I mean, I knew about Marvel, but I didn't read. Like, we've been friends for 18 years, guys. Like, he always grew up reading the comics of DC and Marvel. I didn't really. And I'd watch some of the shows, some of the little Spider-Man shows and stuff. But I never, and I would play it with him. We'd play with our action figures, stuff like that.
You would humor me and play Spider-Man with me. You're like, yeah, this is fun, Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle always had to be the villain. I'm just kidding. I was probably the villain. I don't know. But, so when I got a little older is when I started reading these comics when we came back together for college, and he was like, you should read, the first one I read was Civil War, like actual comic.
Yeah, that's right.
And I went through, and sometimes at work, because I'd get him, I'd borrow him, and I'd read him at work. So, it hit a little bit later for me, but I love what they've done, because The first Avengers was the start of a television. It was the big finale of a television show,
like a television series.
And we're in
season.
the third. We're in this Avengers will be as like the finale of the third season, and then and then a very short fourth season with Ant-Man, Captain Marvel, and then the next Avengers.
Sure, yeah.
But like season 1, you'll have a bad movie or a bad episode, like Iron Man 2. But but once you get to Avengers, it's so good because it's a TV show in movie form. Mm-hmm. So you fall in love with these characters, and you're right. Joss did an incredible job bringing the official tone of the Marvel universe with that humor. But it wasn't even the tone. He was a nerd. He knew Tony Stark was like that. He knew Thor was like this.
Yeah, that's
and he
true.
wrote
That's
great
true.
dialogue to allow them to be themselves, and that's what I love so much about it. I mean, this movie is fantastic to me, and now especially it's a generic battle. Oh, we find another big army, but it's not even that at the time though. I mean, Iron Man 1, he didn't fight a giant army. Cap didn't fight a giant army.
Yeah, there are their own
Hulk, or
small
Thor didn't
personal
fight a
battles,
giant.
basically.
No, there wasn't, and we weren't saturated with all these big blockbuster giant army superhero movies.
No, not necessarily.
Now we are. Yeah. So the difference is what Marvel did so well is they said, all right, we've done that twice. People are like, eh. Yeah. So now we're going to have a giant army get beaten down by one guy instead of a bunch of guys fighting an even bigger army. Mm-hmm. And, Thanos is going to bring an army, but, Thanos doesn't show up without an army. Come on now.
I mean, he doesn't really need one.
But
probably not.
From the wit, and he's right, it's that Game of Thrones feel. I love those scenes, and especially personally in Civil War, because the more, not to make it, like Avengers starts off great, Age of All, but it's the more heroes you get, the more personalities, and it's more you want to see. And so, from the dialogue, he did an incredible job directing, and all the actors came to play. So the first Avengers is something that just lives up. Those scenes still work. Even though, nowadays you get, Loki shows up and you're like, all right, just get to it. Like, there's those moments, it's still a little weird now. They have that big fight, brotherly talk on that big hill and all this stuff.
Oh, I love that scene.
I still love it, but when you go back, you're like, oh yeah, they did that back in the day. They had a little argument like that, but then that continues. So it was really the first thing that set, Iron Man 1 was the first, but then the Avengers kind of took everything in a different direction, a bigger direction, and it's incredible. Rewatching it I haven't watched it in a long time. It was amazing.
It was funny when I rewatched it recently. Back at the time, 2012, like this movie was on a huge scale because of like these 5 big comic book characters coming together. Mm-hmm. Now today we're gonna go see a movie with like 50 superheroes teaming up.
73, I think is the rumor.
Yeah, like we were.
Are they even that many in the movies?
We were shocked that there was gonna be 5 teaming up. Now we have 73. Like it's
something like that. Yeah.
It's just crazy how.
And they're all gonna lose.
Probably, but it's just crazy how this one special movie was able to lead up to this. Like no one in their wildest dreams back in Iron Man thought that we were going to get Avengers. Now from Avengers to Avengers Infinity War, like no one.
And you've got to thank Kevin Feige and Bob Iger.
Yes.
For Bob Iger finding Kevin through all his work with other companies and studios to him saying, I got this idea that's going to change movies. And when you think of the guys who've changed, when they've changed cinema, you think of, you can go all the way back to Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah.
Alfred Hitchcock. Mm-hmm. Blanking on his name right now. One of the best directors of all time. Well, Spielberg, Lucas, James Cameron.
Yeah.
I can't think of Stanley Kubrick. That's what I'm trying to think of. Stanley Kubrick. Guys like that. All directors and writers. And now we've got a producer who's like gonna be remembered as the best producer probably ever because he changed the landscape, guys. Avengers was everything together. But it was also, it was their team-up movie. It was the crossover episode. And he understood what to do, and he made it perfect. And, if they're going to transition to our negatives of the movie, I don't have any negatives of the movie.
Yeah, I was going to say, what negatives?
I don't. To me, The Avengers is in my small group of 10 out of 10s as my score. Mm-hmm. So I'll go right to score, I guess. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. It's always been a 10 out of 10. It's the movie that kind of transitioned me into what event movies are, because I was starting when in 2012 or so I always loved movies, but I was never die hard, it was all Star Wars. That's all I cared about back then until still today. But that movie was the first time I remember being like super packed, but it wasn't like Harry Potter was kind of like that for me, but it didn't hit that didn't. I love Harry Potter. It didn't pull me in the same way Avengers did, and I was like, I gotta read these comics. I gotta know these characters. I gotta get in on this. And the first person I called was this guy because he knows all of it.
Hey.
All right. Anything else to add about the first Avengers?
I like that.
Awesome
I especially like that you brought up Kevin Feige. If we didn't mention Kevin Feige, that would have been sacrilege. Kevin has worked in the industry for a long time. He has worked on movies as like a small-time producer, such as X-Men movies. He's done a couple of the animated stuff as well in his years, and he's just learned so much through working with the industry that he's able to come up with this idea of like, hey, maybe we can do a cinematic universe, but I don't know how we can do it the right way, but I have a feeling that we can at least try and do a good job. And I don't know what his dream was or his end goal was, but it must be miles above right now than what he thought initially. Like, he is a diehard
He's
nerd.
just sitting there like,
he loves,
all according to plan.
yeah, while beat us sweat. No, I like, it's just amazing that like a fellow comic book nerd like himself, a fellow fan of superheroes and movies in general, like, it's just great seeing a guy able to handle this so well and is able to make something really special. So he's also someone
and he's got an eye for talent and he's talked about that where
he's helped find Chris Hemsworth. He got Robert Downey Jr. back on the map because he was.
Well, I mean, I was talking director-wise.
Oh,
because Tom Cruise was really supposed to be Iron Man and stuff like that, and that came down to the casting directors and those individual directors like Kenneth Branagh for Thor and all that stuff. But he did have a hand. True. But it's him finding, like, he'll tell you, like, when James Gunn got, why James Gunn? Well, James Gunn is not only a nerd, but he's a great storyteller. I've seen his small films. You look at the Russo brothers came from comedy TV background, and they have made arguably the best movie yet in Civil War, and maybe the best one we have yet to see.
Yeah, like, tomorrow, yeah.
They found storytellers who are not only nerds who love the lore, but understand the game of big productions. And I've been watching interviews with them, and they don't feel burned out for making this new Avengers. And the transition, we'll talk about this in our next review, which will be Age of Ultron plug. Like, Whedon felt a little burnt out there, and it was time. It was time for new blood, and they found not only the best blood, but they found the guys to be like, all right, we understand what you're doing, Kevin. We're down to give you 4 years of our life, and they're gonna go down with Kevin Feige, I think. And I think when they're done with Avengers, they're gonna be 10 years from now. We're gonna be like, man, what's the next Russo brother movie? I gotta see that. So, but yeah, Avengers rocks.
Yeah. Oh, and
longer review than I thought this would be.
Yeah. One more thing I gotta say. Like, people have been hating on Joss Whedon lately since the Justice League stuff and saying like,
give the man a break.
He ruins. I've seen people come out and say like he ruins comic book movies.
What?
Shut up.
I mean, Avengers and Ultron.
Yeah, shut up. Go back and watch Avengers. Like, Justice League was
Age of Ultron's not that bad.
Justice League was just a bad circumstance where like he just did the best that he could under the certain restrictions that he had going.
You've got different heads at DC too, man. Who
aren't
they're not Kevin Feige. They're not Steve.
He's talented. Like he's done great work. Like don't. Like, shut up, guys. Like, go back and watch Avengers.
He's a great writer. He's a great director. We're never going to know the truth of what happened with Justice League. Get over it, guys. Get over it. We're sorry, Justice League. We're sorry Justice League is not the Avengers you wanted. But instead of crying like a little baby and a DC fanboy, go enjoy that we have something that is working. I mean, I like Justice League. I had fun with it. But we're about to have Avengers. Go watch Avengers and celebrate it so that it makes money. So DC says, we've got to try again with this Justice League, and we got to do it right this time. And if they keep I don't care if they miss 15 times. When they hit, that's what matters, is when you hit in movies.
All you need is a win, man. Wanted to give a shout out to him. He's a great director. Thank you for making Avengers. Thank you, Kevin Feige.
It's my favorite comic book movie ever. And
it's one of my favorite.
Destroys it.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh yeah, it's up there in your top favorite. Do you have a score for Avengers, Kyle?
I mean, it's who cares? I mean, it's awesome. It's amazing.
Your
like
score.
I don't need 9.5 out of 10. Like, I mean, 10 out of 10. I love. It's one of my. It's literally.
He doesn't like giving 10 out of 10s. And that's why I asked him, because I knew you'd be like, but you want to say a 10 out of 10 because, if you say 9.5, everybody's going to be like, in the comments. Anyway,
it doesn't need
it's an incredible movie, 10 out of 10. Kyle loves it at 10 out of 10 anyway. All right, guys, thanks for watching this much longer mainly just review of the Marvel Universe, but also a little bit
And
of
a
Avengers.
review of Justice League?
I guess so. But thanks for sticking with us. We're gonna also go check out the Ultron review, which will be up shortly after this. And then we got a new show coming. Watch out. That'll also be up right before Thursday. Tomorrow night, we will have a video late up. And then a spoiler review later in the weekend, as well as the new show that tied in with Avengers that'll be later next week. Watch for that. And as always, Mom, thanks for watching.
See you guys.